Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Xoxo, this is Xoxo Tarot, and in today's pick a card reading, we are going to be asking, are you seeing yourself clearly? And really what we're asking is, mirror, mirror on the wall, is my precious viewer being the fairest of them all to themselves? And if you're not, I'm gonna call you out. But it's going to be a loving call out because more often than not, usually when we don't see ourselves clearly, it's because we're being too hard on ourselves. So here's a rundown of what we're going to do today. I came up with this little like eye spread and this looked prettier, and then I realized I did basic math wrong. So that's why there's scribbles everywhere. But essentially the first 4 cards of this eye spread are going to represent how you're currently seeing yourself. So if that is accurate, you found your group. But if I'm describing how you're seeing yourself and you're like, that's not how I see myself, then pick a different group because it's not your reading. Then we're going to look at cards 5 through 8, and those are going to represent how you truly are, what the truth is beneath what you're judging. And then we are going to look at there's going to be a little center card, and it's like the pupil and iris and stuff. I was trying to be cute. And that is going to represent guidance on how to see yourself more clearly moving forward, guidance on what you can do when you're having trouble seeing yourself clearly, and then we will finish off with some final guidance for you. So we have 4 different groups for you to choose from today. So starting with group number 1, we have this first stack of cards, and I have this citrine koi fish on top. And then for group number 2, we have this second stack of cards, and I have this Aventurine giraffe on top. And then for group number 3, we have the third stack of cards, and I have this Larimar turtle on top. And then finally, for the 4th stack of cards, I have the 4th stack of cards for group 4, and I have this amethyst butterfly on top. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to decide which pile you feel most drawn to. It is absolutely okay to be drawn to more than one. If the very first part of the reading resonates, then the rest is for you. If it doesn't, it's not, and it's pretty much that simple. Take what resonates, don't let the rest take from you. That being said, though, intro squad, I've got a bit of a question for you. Oh, scroll down to the description box, the comments section. We've got all timestamps listed below. Intro squad, I do have a question though. It's quite important. And that is, what is something that you used to hate about yourself or feel jealous or insecure of that you now love about yourself, or are grateful that you have this quality or trait or whatever it may be? I'll go first. I love my fucking personality, and I used to be really insecure and feel bad about it because I used to get like made fun of and be told I was annoying for, you know, being myself, which is like, wow, like that's how kids are. But it's kind of awesome now because that same personality that I was shat on for is part of how I make my living. So I'm really grateful for my personality, and I'm really grateful that I didn't listen to those people who said I should not be myself. And what I will say is, though, is that this doesn't stop people from thinking I'm annoying, but it has stopped me from letting that thought stop me. So yeehaw. Yeah, so tell me something about yourself that you see differently now that you're older, or you see differently now that you see its value or the gift in it. I would love to hear that. And also for those of you that are part of Email Squad, which you should be part of Email Squad if you want full privileges. If you're already here in Intro Squad, you should be in Email Squad. Did you do the spread? What happened? I would love to hear for those of you that tried it, if it was enjoyable or if you got any insights from it. So that is all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. Once you have picked your pile or piles, you can scroll down to the comment section or the description box where I have all the timestamps listed below, and I will see you in your reading. Hi there, Pile 1. Welcome to your reading and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose this first stack of cards and this citrine koi fish, this is going to be your reading on are you seeing yourself clearly? So we're going to start by looking at what you are seeing about yourself at this time. If this part resonates, then this reading is for you. If it doesn't resonate, this reading is not for you. I would try a different group. So starting with your how you're currently seeing yourself, we have the Lovers, we have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, we have the Knight of Wands in reverse, and we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So make sure everything's in the yes. So how are you seeing yourselves right now, group 1? This is really interesting. And one really interesting thing about it is that there's such a dissonance between your, I don't even know what I would call it. Logically, you know that you're worthy of good things. You know that you have a lot of potential, but not just potential, you have already shown how when you act on that potential, amazing things can happen. Yes, you see that when you put the work in, you get the results you want. However, it seems like you see yourself as not being good enough. It's like whatever you have achieved in life already, no matter what it is, there's a part of you that feels like you have to put in tons of effort and tons of energy into maintaining it, otherwise you'll lose it. But what I also see here is that you can see that there's a lot within you not being expressed. What I'm unsure is whether or not that it's not being expressed because you think that these expressions are not acceptable for the roles that you're currently playing in life, like especially if you're a parent or a caretaker or have like some sort of position in your community or in your family where it's important for you to present yourself in a certain way. Or if you have like a partner, you might feel like there's parts of me they've never seen and these parts of me are coming out and I don't want them to see those parts of me. Like you might be afraid of them seeing those things. Or this energy is being left unexpressed because you don't feel ready to express it yet. You don't know how you would, or you haven't even recognized what this unexpressed energy is. So rather than it being like a conscious knowingness of I'm not expressing this need for me to have, you know, more physical movement in my life. Let's just say that, like, you know, maybe you want to join a softball league, but it would take time out of, you know, your schedule and you might feel selfish for that. Or you're like, well, what if my partner thinks softball is lame and then they, you know, don't want to hang out with me anymore? Let's say that, for example. So like the tension could be, I know what I want to express, but I'm afraid if I make this choice to express it, I could lose what I've already created. Or you feel this unexplainable tension, like I should be like happy and fulfilled and satisfied with everything in my life. Why am I not? Why do I feel this tension? Why do I feel frustrated? And I can definitely see here that you can see that in a lot of ways, life is good and life is great. But at the same time, it might also only be that way because you're really good at telling yourself that, even when your needs are going unmet, or when it's just almost like you have this ability to really convince yourself of whatever you believe. And so that can be really damaging, or not damage, I guess it can be damaging, but rather really confusing, because it seems like your soul will call you to things and your mind doesn't know how to process it, and your mind kind of judges it as like, okay, you know, this is something I need to suppress or squash. This is not something I should be quote unquote listening to. And I think there's a part of you as well that sees yourself as someone who is capable, who does have dreams, who is theoretically worthy of everything they desire. However, once life starts to bring you those desires, you become more and more aware of how you don't feel good enough for them, and you put in a lot of time and energy trying to prove to yourself that these things are worthy of you, and also proving and doing what you can to almost kind of minimize your humanity out of fear that your humanity could cause you to lose what you've gained. I also think some of you see yourselves as someone who, yes, has all of like the tools, the skills, the ability to be in a different place, or to be to have some sort of dream come true that hasn't come true for you, that you can't let go of. It's like you might just you might see yourself as someone that's like, yeah, you might honestly see yourself as someone that's being tortured by the universe, because what you desire is something that you can't seem to let go of, and yet who you are and where you're at seems to be this recurring loop of disappointment, and like everything seems promising and then it doesn't work, and I don't understand why. And you know what's really funny? I just had this thought of like, I really just want to stop this video. Like, I really just want to stop this video and not continue and film. And I think that's how you feel. Like, I think that's how you feel. This Lover's card to me really indicates something that's already in your life, that you that's in your physical realm, that you're aware of, and that you are very grateful for, that you find a lot of value in, but you have a lot of fear in losing, or that there is some sort of thing, person, belief, idea, desire that is very deeply tied to your heart. This could be a passion of yours. This could be a career path. This could be a partnership. This could be really just something that you are enamored with, something that makes you feel alive, something that has a lot like deep meaning to you. And you see that that's there, you see that that's important, and you see that that has a significant impact on you. But I don't think you see that you don't think you're good enough for it, or that you may even almost act in self-destructive ways that reinforce this idea of like, I'm not ready for this, or I'm not ready for this thing yet, or it's not time yet. And I don't even think you consciously realize it, because one thing that I'm seeing here with this Wheel of Fortune in reverse is that part of you does see that in certain ways, some of your choices have, while they've created awareness of where imbalances lie, they've also created awareness of how you make decisions that you consciously and knowingly don't want to make, that you then make anyway out of fear of doing the wrong thing, or out of fear of, you see that you are somebody who will quickly compromise your authenticity and compromise what has meaning for you, if that means that you can receive love or acceptance or validation in the world outside of you. If something can validate a role, or show that you are needed, or show that you are good enough, you will do that before honoring authentic expression. You see that. Or if you didn't see that, you see that now. And part of you are like, I didn't ask to be scalped today, but I guess that was on the menu. I apologize. Actually, no, I don't really, because I don't need to feel bad about what I'm seeing here. And if anything, I think that you don't need to feel bad about being human and having needs. I think that you see that you do this, but you can't stop yourself, and it's deeply frustrating. And I think you see that there's a lot of behavior that you're partaking in right now that's, you know, maybe closer to self-loathing than it is self-care, self-love. I can also see here that you see intellectually your own value, but that doesn't stop you from making you feel like you're not good enough. And it also doesn't stop you from making you feel like good times aren't safe. And goodness is something that we earn. It's not something we can just receive and experience. Goodness is something that we have to prove to others we are worthy of. And I see you as well as somebody who sees themselves as needing to be respectable, needing to do the right thing, needing to be right. And I don't mean this in like I need to be right all the time, but rather I need to be doing what I think is right, so that if I get criticized or if someone isn't happy with what I did, or you know, I receive some sort of flack, I can say, well, I know I was doing the right thing, so you don't have to hold on to this like disapproval. But I think one thing that you don't see about yourself is that you may sacrifice your dreams on the altar of approval, because that feels safer than trying for what your heart truly wants. So if that resonates as to what you're seeing right now, let's go ahead and see what the truth of this situation is, how you truly are. So we have Dagas. We have I am good enough. Yeah, you could say that. We have Get Wild. And we have the Ungrateful Daughter and the Earthly Mother. So what you don't see about yourself and the truth of this situation is that I do think that there is some sort of cycle that's been beyond your control, where it has been really waking you up to how you give your power away, and how and where in circumstances you make choices that reinforce not feeling good enough, rather, and what those look like and how you feel as a result, so that you can become aware of where there is power in your everyday life that, number one, you may not be realizing you're giving away, and number two, how these small things over time reinforce the idea we're not good enough, and how changing that choice can be something that starts to help reinforce this idea that you are good enough, because you are good enough. Not only that, though, how you truly are, at least right now, is too domesticated. You see yourself as being somebody who needs to suppress their natural instincts, but how you truly are is somebody that recognizes when they need time to decompress, to release, to just get pent up energy out. And I think that you have been in a position where you've had a hard time honoring that. I think part of this tension comes from the fact that maybe you just haven't screamed into a bog in a minute, and that might actually be kind of good for you. I think that there's a part of you that denies your very human emotions and frustrations and angers, because you feel like if you don't, then other people will reject you or shame you or belittle you. But the reality is, about, especially when it comes to intimacy, the people that we are most intimate with will be accepting of us in whatever state we are in. And the thing about that is that doesn't mean that we or others are accepting of, like, say, abusive behavior or things like that, but rather it's just you're safe to be yourself, even if that is messy in the moment with someone else, because they want to support you, and also they're not judging you for being human, for coming undone. You can never come undone because you judge yourself for coming undone. And that's part of the problem here. Part of why things don't seem to be able to move forward for you in life is because there is a part of you that is like, if we are receiving pushback, dissent, anger, anything like that, negative energy at us, when we express ourselves in a way that is for us and not for someone else, that is when you are quick to shut yourself down, because the tension and dissent outside of you is still more powerful than the tension and dissent within you. But the thing is that tension the importance of that tension will shift as your self-esteem grows. And also that you realize a lot of that dissent comes from unworthy opinions and comes from small minds. I would also say one truth is that you're about to wake up in a really powerful way where you won't be in this cycle much longer, and you'll realize that a lot of your worries and fears that you were holding on to were a lot less were not real the way you thought they were. I think one thing about how you truly are is you are someone that is always waking up to new things and new insights, but you don't always listen to them and follow them. And so as a result, sometimes instead of integrating what you've woken up to, you kind of forget about it, and then you repeat cycles, so then you reawaken to it. And I think there could be a part of you that's like, why am I like back here? Or why can't I seem to integrate this and understand this? And it's because there's a part of you deep down that doesn't feel good enough. You know, kids, when they come into this world, they're not born with an inherent sense they're not good enough. That's something that's taught to them. You know, a toddler is not considering action before they take it. They don't, the nice thing is they don't have the logical reasoning skills too. But there's something very important in that, in the sense that there's so much intelligence and exploration and curiosity and play, and those are three things that you've really robbed yourself of in the pursuit of being and doing who and what you think is right. And the truth is that sometimes you think incorrectly, and sometimes you feel correctly. Sometimes you feel incorrectly, and sometimes you think correctly. But the reality is that it doesn't really matter what's true or what's not, because what you validate as truth, at least right now, is whatever truth is demanded by the world around you that is easier to go along with than to be a dissenting figure against. But I think one beautiful thing about how you truly are is that in your truest nature, you're wild enough to not even fucking care about what other people think, especially when it comes to standing on business is what I was going to say, but I was like, I don't really say that, and I don't even know if that's like the proper way to say it. But what I do know is that you are somebody who has a great amount of ferocity in them. And I think because you know that, you've felt like you need to be like inherently super domesticated and docile and like chill, because you don't want to hurt others or be too wild. Maybe you do have wounds around being wild, like maybe people shamed you or belittled you. But the reality is that there's a lot of, you might be thinking, well, how do I get wild? And you can start by stop thinking about how and go. I was about to tell you to do something sarcastically. Well, yeah, go take a shit in the woods. Go get a shovel. Take a shit. Wipe yourself with leaves. If you're a fancy bidet person, I don't know what to tell you there. Well, maybe don't go to a stream. That's probably not a good idea. But, you know, animal shit in the woods. Why not people? Just bury it and be respectful. That's what backpackers do. Okay, that's one example of being wild. Another example of being wild is just screaming at the top of your lungs. Maybe don't do that with other people around, because they might think that something is wrong. But one of my favorite things to do when I feel like I'm going to simply implode is to grab a pillow, put it to my face, and scream as loud as I can. The pillow trick is really helpful, because you can really just get in there and not be worried about whether people hear you or not. But that being said, like, just one thing, that how you truly are, like, you are someone that is meant to be both the person that you've grown to be and the person you always were. A lot of who you've grown to be is really wonderful, and I think you even recognize that. I think you really love your discipline, your work ethic. I think you love your generosity and how willing you are to go above and beyond for others, and these are things to be proud of. But I think that you also resent your more wild and creative sides, because they are sides of you that are more misunderstood and sides of you that aren't always received kindly. And I think that you see yourself as someone who is safer when they're received kindly than when they show up authentically. But the truth is that you are someone who can be received authentically no matter what. and also someone who is capable of not taking judgment or rejection personally when they are being authentic. Because number one, it's not like you're losing your reasoning skills or losing your ability to be, you know, a healthy functioning member of society. The only thing you're really losing are parameters of control that don't work for you, and parameters of control that are set on you by others in order for them to be more comfortable. And other people's comfortability is not necessarily your concern. So I really do think how you truly are is someone that sees clearly when they're about to make a decision that reinforces the idea that you're not good enough. Because when you are in your authenticity, you recognize that you are good enough and that you are inherently worthy of good things. You are inherently worthy of taking up space, of creating what you want in the world, sharing your opinion, speaking your truth. And not only that, I think that you are someone who doesn't see that you can have a good heart and not have all the answers. You can have a good heart and be imperfect. You can have a good heart and not meet every single person's needs. In fact, in order to have a good heart, that might be kind of important because, you know, your own heart has needs too. But ultimately, a lot of what makes you feel like you have to hide yourself, what makes you feel small, what makes you feel judged, is really just coming from immature and entitled places. I don't know whether that is in your life or even if it's like a figment of your imagination, like, you know, things that you were told in the past that you still carry, things like that. But ultimately, you're someone who's waking up to a truth much grander than any role or any coping mechanism or any fear-based desire to hide, which is really cool. Like, you're truly good enough for what you want and what you're seeking, but you won't get there unless you let go of the rule book, let go of the itinerary, and start just going for it and listening to how the energy carries you. You know, you have to be willing to be comfortable being uncomfortable and recognize how the discomfort of repeating the same thing that hurts you or that keeps you small, that makes you feel not good enough, recognizing how uncomfortable that is, and that, you know, to make a change, there's discomfort no matter what, but in order to, like, you are someone that is capable of withstanding great discomfort when you're able to validate and honor your own truth and don't feel like you need the outside world to validate and honor it. And so until you start, like, acting on it with courage and just seeing the results, you're not going to know how people are going to respond to you in that way, how the world is going to respond to you. But you will get a lot of wisdom in terms of how you feel after, and I think that's going to open up a lot of aha moments for you. But let's go ahead and see what you can do to help you see more clearly and shift your focus. So for that, we have honeymoon and productivity. So one thing that you can do is look at yourself through the lens of, what am I doing that I need to, that I'm getting done? There's a part of you that has a hard time letting go of responsibility, and I don't think you should let go of all your responsibilities. I think that you should, though, refine what responsibilities are truly important for you to uphold and what responsibilities you may be continuing to hold on to because you feel like obligated, or you don't want to deal with, like, the judgment that may come if you stop doing them. So, like, for example, if you're volunteering for your kids, like PTA, but realistically you're really busy and you don't want to be a part of PTA, but you keep doing it because that's easier than dealing with a bunch of, you know, snarky parents that are mad at you for not being a part of it anymore. Maybe try dealing with snarky parents instead. Because if that's taking away from your time with your family, your time with yourself, time from time to do things that you love and enjoy, and realistically the only reason you're doing it is not because you want to do it, but because you feel guilty and obligated. That's an excellent example of where you are not being productive. You are wasting your time in order to feel safe and get approval from other people. I feel like one thing that you could do is look at what actually is my responsibility and what is the responsibility I've taken on to please others. See how many of those there are that are in the please others column and take them off. Because you deserve, with what you're taking the time to do out of fear of non-acceptance, you'll get all that time back to do what you want with it, to do things differently. I also think, though, too, if you are a parent of some kind, you might even want to look at, you know, where am I going above and beyond when really average is just fine? Like, where am I pushing myself to my core all the time where realistically it wouldn't make a difference if I just put in less effort? Because the thing is it's not that, like, it's not that putting in less effort. The reason why I say that is just because you might be putting an unnecessary amount of effort in things that don't require that much. And as a result, it's taking you away from other areas of your life. When really the problem is the imbalance to begin with is guilt and shame because you feel like you're not doing enough, and therefore you're not good enough. And if what you're doing and creating isn't good enough, then you're definitely not going to be good enough. So reframing productivity in a way where it's like, this is what I know I need to do. I know I'm doing these things. I'm a functioning human being. Okay, everyone else can fuck off when it comes to what they think about what I'm doing and where I'm at with my life. I think that if you have some sort of like threshold of what you expect yourself to meet and what is important for you to meet, and then beyond that, where am I being emotionally guilt tripped into, or where am I allowing myself to be guilt tripped, you know, into certain obligations or responsibilities, cutting those down and saying, hey, okay, I don't need to let TikTok mom shame tell me that I'm a terrible parent if my sink is full of dishes tonight. I'm gonna leave them and go to sleep and do them tomorrow. Like, just things like that where you give the outside world too much agency over what's best for you. And also realizing the outside world doesn't know what systems will work for me. I think all of that could be very helpful. But this reading was kind of experimental, so I don't know if it made sense or if it was of any value. But if you did enjoy it, thanks for leaving it a like. We're going to go ahead and finish this reading off with just a guidance card for you. So, what guidance do you have, loving universe, for my group number ones? What do they need to know? We have white sage and a bunch of messed up cards. Okay, this is the Love Your Inner Goddess guidebook, by the way. And I should also mention, it's okay if you're a man or someone with a lot of masculine energy. The gender is not important here. If it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, I don't know why you were here through the whole thing if it doesn't, but if it resonates, it's for you. It's pretty much that simple. Okay. It's safe to let things unfold as they will. You don't need to fix things nor try to force something to happen. The universe is already working things out for you. There's no need to question your vision or intuition just because situations are working out differently to how you thought that they would. The universe is a little bent and certainly has a sense of humor, but ultimately it is kind and knows the best way to accomplish all that needs to happen. You are very much part of this. All things will come together in the correct way at the best time. The universe has your back. Trust that you are being helped. And the spiritual guidance is you have insight. You see things that others can miss. You understand that to see what is true, you have to look beneath the surface. Your soul is a sage, a wise one. You know the value of patience, even if it isn't always easy for you to be patient. You know that sometimes you must wait, but that the truth will always emerge eventually. So you don't need to rush in and try to figure something out. White sage comes to you and you need to know that the truth will become clear at the right time in a way that you will recognize. Trust your intuition and value your insight. Don't torment yourself with doubt because you think you've made mistakes in the past. Sometimes we need to have certain experiences and challenges in order to grow, and we are temporarily blocked by a higher power from seeing the truth until we are ready for it. For now, all you need is patience, honoring, and trust. At the right time, you will see and understand, and so in time will others. Don't lose your power to worries about anyone or anything. Be at peace with yourself and life, and when the time is right, you will know what is true and what to do. The highest truth will shine through. So, group number 1, that's where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background. That is the simplest and easiest way to show support and appreciation for my channel, so thank you to everyone who does that. Also lets me not have to take sponsors, but other ways you can support me, sign up for my email list. My email list gets top privileges that nobody else gets. So if I ever upload my personal readings, my email list will be the only group to know. My email list gets freebies. My email list is also the first in the loop of communication. Email list gets email list privileges. You can check out candles. Be sure to use code ASOTAN for 10% off. Merch, social media, you can check out other videos, ones with extendeds, but that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I really hope these messages resonated and brought the clarity you were looking for. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video. I love you guys so much, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 2. I almost called you pile 1. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the little Aventurine giraffe, I want to put him here. This is going to be your reading on, are you seeing yourself clearly? So we're going to start by looking at these 4 cards, and that will indicate how you're currently seeing yourself. So if this resonates, then you found the right group. If it doesn't resonate, I would try a different one. So to start with how you're seeing yourself, we have the 2 of Cups. We have the Ace of Wands reversed. We have the 7 of Cups upright, and the 2 of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so if you picked this group and it is your reading, I will say that something has entered your life or has been in your life for a second that is really meaningful for you. This is either a romantic partnership, a partnership with someone that's platonic but that you have really deep feelings for, that you really care about. This could be, it doesn't have to be another person. It could be related to an endeavor or something that just really matters to you. But I will be honest, the primary interpretation that I am getting is related to romantic partnership specifically, or on a broader scale partnership. So I do feel like you are seeing yourself right now as kind of being pulled between different forces. And one of the forces that you feel pulled between is your heart, and the other you feel pulled by is, I don't know if I should call it like your subconscious or your conditioning or your fear. I guess it could be all 3 if you just want to group them all together. But from what I can see here, I think that you're seeing yourself as kind of unable to find clarity about this situation. I feel like this situation, and what I mean by situation is whatever this other thing is. And I guess for some of you, maybe you don't have a romantic partnership in your life, but the urge or desire for that has become very strong in a way that it hasn't been in the past. I could say if there isn't one in your life, but you still feel drawn to this group, then that's probably the circumstance we're talking about here. And I think you're seeing yourself as, am I being delusional? And like, for example, if there is someone in your life that you have feelings for or that you're in a relationship with, you might be feeling like it's too good to be true, or you might be feeling like, am I not seeing clearly? Am I leaving myself vulnerable in ways that could get me hurt? And at the same time, I see that being validated by this Ace of Wands and this Two of Pentacles in reverse, where not only is there an imbalance, but maybe who this other is at a different place, like financially or stability wise than you. And so that might add to like feelings of like, what if I'm not good enough, or what if I'm not able to like meet them where they're at? Like you might find, or this could also just be recognition of the imbalances in your own life and feeling like you don't have enough to offer right now, and that, or worrying that you're not enough, like what you have to give isn't enough. But I also think as well, this goes beyond just like security within partnership, and also relates to just like having trouble being able to feel secure and confident in your choices. And I see that happening to you here, and I see you see that. Like I think you recognize that you struggle to trust yourself and struggle to trust in things that are good. And I think that there is a part of you that's thinking about the fact that this situation is something that you always wanted, but you didn't think was real. And so now that it's here, it's probably quite confronting. Or you have lived a while not really wanting this, or not really desiring this, or getting away with convincing yourself you didn't want some sort of deeper, intimate relationship or connection. And now you're really desiring that and wanting that, despite the fact that it's really confronting to you, and maybe it doesn't even fit with how you see yourself. So with this Ace of Wands being in reverse, I feel like there's a lot of passion being stifled here. But at the same time, I think it's also fear of things fizzling out, or fear of being I think you see yourself as being vulnerable to disappointment or heartbreak if things don't work out, or if there's no one in the picture. I would say you feel vulnerable to just putting yourself out there, period. Like there's a part of you that really wants like the fantasy, like there's a part of you that really wants this like connection and wants something deeper. But at the same time, I think that the parts of you that resist that are extra loud recently. And I would say that's for all of you. There might be fear of passions fizzling out, or fear of commitment being too much. And the interesting thing is that I think you see yourself as not fearing commitment in general, but fearing commitment that ends up not being what you thought you were committing to. And I see here as well, there's a lot of distrust in yourself to be able to discern that. And I also think as well, there are clues and like intuitive nudges your body is giving you, but I think you're having a hard time trusting them because your conscious and logical experiences have been different in the past. Maybe what you believe about relationships is something that is primarily negative, like relationships don't work out, or people eventually get tired of each other, or a good thing always ends up a bad thing, but that's not true. And I think you want to believe that's not true, but you're terrified of putting yourself in a position to test that theory, because if it becomes true, I think you're gonna feel like you want to kick yourself and being like, see, I shouldn't have been vulnerable, see, I shouldn't have opened myself up to this. But at the same time, there's definitely a part of you that is unwilling to deny either what you're desiring, which is a romantic partnership, or unable to deny the value of the partnership or the thing that is in your life that is bringing you so much connection and care and kindness and compassion. I really do feel like this is something where you feel like, I think that you see that whatever you have, like if this is in your life already, or if this represents another person in your life, I think you recognize that this person is genuine, and you also see that like you can open up to this person is opened up to you. Like I think you see clearly that there are a lot of like green flags here, or positive signs here. But I think that in your case, maybe you don't have a template for what healthy connection looks like. Like, it's making me think of, I'll roast my brother for a second. When my brother was dating my sister-in-law, as you can see, the story has a happy ending. One time he was telling me that he was questioning the relationship because things were too easy, and that, you know, things were really calm and relaxed. And I was like, yeah, that's because you're not dating people who take their, you know, internal world out on you anymore. But like, we just had this conversation, and he was just feeling like confused, like there's nothing wrong here, but it feels off because there's no, because it's easy, because it's calm. And I've seen online that that's actually, well, I told him straight up, I'm like, you're an absolute fucking idiot if you choose to end that relationship for that reason. And luckily he listened to me, and agrees that he was an idiot for even thinking that, because, yeah, wonderful human being, my sister-in-law. Very grateful for her. That being said, I think there are a lot of people that can relate to that when you've had like toxic or volatile partners in the past that weren't comfortable in peaceful situations. I think there's a part of you that might be uncomfortable with the peace that exists here, and might be like, am I missing something? Or am I just waiting for the other shoe to drop? Or you might be questioning like, okay, why are things going so well still? Like, at this point, shouldn't the other shoe drop? I feel like what you see clearly is that you're questioning this situation, and you're also seeing clearly that there's openness. On a heart level, you want to be open, and I think you have been open in ways that have shocked you. Like, I think one thing that you're seeing is that when you're with someone who makes you feel safe, and with someone that is not unsafe, that it's a lot easier for you to open up and be yourself, and that it's a lot easier for you to connect. But I think what's confronting about that is, number one, it might be putting past experiences into a different context, where you realize like, oh, maybe the way that person treated me wasn't okay, or oh, maybe I accepted behavior that wasn't right, or maybe you've even realized, oh, like I've really taken responsibility for things that were really just a product of people projecting their own issues onto me and making it my job to fix them. You might be realizing that. And I think there's just this part of you that's like, I don't know what's going to happen here. And part of me, and I don't know, I think you can see that you don't have clarity around what's going to happen, around whether or not you are sensing accurately that this situation is safe, whether or not you're sensing accurately that this is something substantial, and whether or not you're sensing accurately that this is something that you should be guarded towards, or this is something you should be open towards. And one thing I do want to say that I've been feeling called to say that I keep forgetting is that part of why this is so challenging and it's hard for you to feel like trust yourself in terms of what you're discerning is because I do think that this situation is different from your past experiences, where, you know, it's easy for you to recognize personas and characters that mirror past experiences, but I feel like you're in all new territory. And I think that one thing you may not be seeing, or are kind of seeing but are also like questioning, is just, this feels so good, it feels like a fantasy, and I don't know if this can be grounded in reality too. You might be feeling like maybe this is just maybe this is just a front they're putting on, or maybe I think there's just a part of you that isn't sure how to take positive experiences that bring you a lot of joy, that don't serve some other utilitarian purpose, or don't serve some sort of like greater reason beyond yourself. Like, I think that there is a part of you that forgets that you deserve to be happy in relationships. And I think what you're seeing now is a lot of imbalance that has existed in just connections in your life in general, where you might be realizing like where you have settled for less, or where you have accepted behavior that was unfair, and also where you may be taking on too many burdens. I think one thing you could be seeing is that you've been trying to hold it together for other people. And I think one thing that you're seeing now is as this situation is unfolding, you don't have the same capacity to do that. And I would say even as well, the more you try to run from this situation, or the more you try to like suppress how you feel, or suppress like what your desires are, the more exhausted you get, and the less productive you are, the less you can like focus on your everyday life, because you're dealing with, because you're spending your energy trying to suppress like natural instincts and impulses. So let's go ahead and see how you truly are, what's underneath this energy, what's the truth of it. So to start with your mirror card, we have I am hopeful. We have love. We have laughing and crying. And we have Legos. So this is beautiful. What's truly going on here is that there's something worth exploring, and something really special that's already in your life, or is something you're bringing into your life by just acknowledging your desires. And the truth is that this is a very necessary, important, and healing process that you're undergoing, where number one, not only are you opening up to the sweetness of life again, because I think you've been closed off from that for a while, but number two, actually starting to build a better relationship with yourself through relationships with others. The fact that we have the love card here, I think that what you're not seeing, and the truth of what you're experiencing, is the tension is coming to the surface to be released, number one, and to also show you what isn't you. Because a lot of the tension that's holding you back is not tension coming from a place of, oh, I sense danger here, I need to hold back. It's pattern recognition of, oh, these exciting feelings of a new romance, or oh, these feelings of wanting to open myself up. Every time I have these feelings, these lead to experiences that have been really painful, or experiences that have really disappointed me. And so I feel like your system, like your body and your subconscious, are already in a state of like, oh, we've had these feelings before, they never end well. And the reality is that is a story that is creating a lot of tension within you, because number one, I think you're unaware that the story is there. And number two, I think you're unaware that the story is based on not only like past experience, but also assumptions that make it easier to not have hope. And I think that your spirit is really tired of not carrying hope in your body, in your soul, in your mind. You are actually a lot more of an optimistic person than I think you give yourself credit for. And I think, you know, it makes me think of that quote, like, inside every cynic is a disappointed idealist. And I think the reality is that you're someone who wants to feel hope, and wants to feel excited about this, or wants to feel excited about the idea of opening yourself up to someone again. And the truth is, a lot of the reason why you feel stuck is because you're a bit emotionally constipated. I think actually when you're around this person, or when you're fantasizing about a potential future relationship, there's it gets you into your emotional body in a way that you're not really in your emotional body otherwise. Like, sure, you're in your emotional body sometimes, but it's usually something that you quickly compartmentalize and like are like, okay, I need to focus, or okay, like kind of like I'm a Virgo moon. So for example, I feel my feelings, but I let the feelings go over there, and I observe them from a safe distance. So it's kind of like that, like learning to actually feel and not analyze what you're feeling or trying to figure it out is something that I think you are learning. But also this process that you're undergoing is basically trying to help you cleanse your subconscious and also release past wounds around relationship and also wounds around emotions and emotional expression. Emotions are data just like anything else, and I think that part of why it's been so hard for you to just embrace pattern here or embrace like autopilot or what you always do is because your heart is stronger than subconscious patterning. And your heart is like, there's something really special here. We want to look at it. We want to explore it. And what part of this is doing is actually helping you have a better and more balanced relationship with yourself, where you're starting to see how you pushed away opportunities to be more loving towards yourself and to also accept and receive love from the world around you. I think that this is the person that you truly are is someone that accepts their emotions and finds wisdom in them and doesn't try to hold them down or force them down. And in fact, I think you're undergoing a very powerful process of reopening your emotional body and also processing what's been stuck and stagnant in your emotional body. So if you find yourself in the near future like having random bursts of like tears or laughter or just like energy and you don't understand why, it's probably old stuff being passed, just being released. But also you are a being that is meant to love yourself, truly feel love for yourself, to love the life that you're in, to love others and be loved by others. Like, you are love, period. And what's coming to the surface as tension is everything that blocks love from coming in and blocks you from receiving love being given to you. And this isn't all about romantic love. This is all kinds, and especially love when it comes to you. Love when it comes to, like, part of why this situation is making you feel so vulnerable and scared is because there's not a solid level of relationship with yourself where you feel comfortable enough going into the unknown and going into these uncertainties, because you don't know that you'll be okay if things don't work out the way that you were hoping them to. You know, if you are disappointed, right now it seems you don't have the toolkit to support yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I think you might have the physical toolkit. I think your mental toolkit is more like, just don't think about it, just go do other thing. And I would recommend maybe swapping those tools out. It might not be a very effective tool. But ultimately, you're not meant to live a life without love in it. The feeling of love, being loved by others and actually feeling that, loving others and recognizing that in the moment, feeling safe to share your love with others and not feeling attached to how your love is received, recognizing the gift that it is and being, what's the right word? Conscientious and discerning about who you share it with. And I also think that where you truly are right now is you're in a point where you're surrendering and purging a lot of stuff that's kept you trapped, stuck, stressed, and hopeless. And this purging process is allowing you to reconnect to the parts of yourself that do feel hope, that love, that embrace emotion no matter how ridiculous, and that recognize the magic and mystery of the subconscious, of the heart space, of our emotional body. I feel like that's something you're going to discover through this experience or through manifesting, opening up to it, and then eventually having it. You are meant to experience healthy love in this lifetime, and not just with others, but with yourself, and understand what that really looks like. Actually, I would really recommend a book to you. Do I have it over here? I might. Might be in one of my random book stacks, but it might not be. Oh no, Marcus Aurelius is not what we need. Yeah, actually, Stoicism is the opposite of what I would recommend. I think that you should feel things just for the sake of it. Okay, no, I don't think the book is in here. So let me just write down what it is. I believe it is called All About Love by Bell Hooks. That's the book. Read it. It's fantastic. It's great. You will never question what love is again after you read this book. Promise. But you will be confronted with how the way you live your life isn't loving. So do be warned about that. Okay, so this card right here is guidance for how to see things more clearly in the future. Okay, so you actually got a card that isn't technically a meaning card, but rather a reference guide within the deck. So I would say that this is actually an encouragement for you to, when you don't know, when you're having trouble being clear, this is your opportunity to pay attention to all different energies and essences and start exploring what is calling out to you, like what is communicating with you. Also, I think that if you are really having trouble understanding like emotional energy, for example, looking at it through air, fire, and earth perspectives on a level of like, okay, how does the grounded part of me, how does my body both, like, where am I clear in my body and where am I unclear? Where am I clear in my energy? Where am I unclear? Where am I clear in my mind and where am I unclear? Like, I think that there's kind of a trust your intuition, like in terms of resourcefulness. Like, you might know what element you need, or you might notice that you're operating predominantly in one element or a combination of a few. And so the guidance then would be, okay, integrate the ones that are not being accessed right now, is kind of what I'm seeing there. So we're just gonna go ahead and finish this reading off with a little guidance card. So shout out to everyone who takes time to leave me a little like if you enjoyed this reading. I just really appreciate it. But I really love this deck. It's called Love Your Inner Goddess by Alana Fairchild. That doesn't mean that you have to be a woman for this reading to resonate. Okay, we all have inner gods and goddesses. We're all energetically androgynous, whether we claim it or not. But one big crime of patriarchy, I think, is the fact that both men, women, and human beings, you know, we all have to navigate life through these arbitrary binaries that don't reflect the greatness and wholeness of who we are. Like how completely fucking insane and illogical is it that like as like society as a whole has a collective belief that like men, if you feel your emotions, you're a sissy. A natural function for every human that has a lot of benefits and that actually is very useful in terms of self-exploration. No, yeah, men are just not supposed to feel that. Okay, like that's so insane to me. It's also insane to me, like, that, I don't know, this is just gonna be a tangent and a rant, so I'm just not gonna get into it. This is not the time and place, and honestly, like, I just don't even, like, I don't care. Like, not in the sense of, like, I mean, I do care about, like, the actual issues. I don't care to go into it right now. I don't care to defend my position or have some sort of emotionally immature person have an issue with it and just fucking whine, bitch, and moan in my comment section about it. I just don't care. I don't care. Okay. But I do care. I do care. Don't care enough to go into it though. Okay, so group number 2, please, Spirit. What guidance do you have for my group 2s? What do they need to know at this time for their highest good? we have Angel of Truth. So, 42. The truth wants to be told, needs to be heard. It may seem like the whole world wants to believe in a lie, so you wonder if you are crazy, if you are the only one who is thinking differently and desiring the real story to emerge. Yet those that fight against the truth are even more in need of it. There can be no healing, no freedom, no moving on without it. You are going to be blessed with a truth revealed, a realization about yourself, the world, or others that will bring you relief. It will happen at the right time. It will set your soul free. So I feel like this is a beautiful sign too, that clarity in this situation is coming. Sometimes the lies we are repeatedly told become so familiar that we forget that they are lies and begin to believe that they are real. Maybe it's someone judging us that is the lie. Maybe it's advertising and the media, which are often more about deceptive manipulation than a source of correct information. Whatever the source, all untruth teaches us the same thing, that we must be afraid and hate each other. When we are fed so many false truths, it can become hard to remember what real truth feels like. It can even start to seem like the truth doesn't matter as much as being able to convince another person to accept your point of view. This is like poison for the soul. The soul needs truth like your body needs air. It keeps it alive. Deep in your soul, you know what is true, and you know when you or anyone else is not being truthful. You are sensitive enough to know that only the truth feels good for you. You must give yourself permission to be truthful with your own soul and live honestly and authentically and bravely in this world. It is the only way for you to really be you. The Angel of Truth comes to you with protection and encourages you to put your faith in truth because it will always shine stronger than any lie. And there's a little sacred ritual. If you would like to do that, feel free to do so. And I think that this is really powerful too, because there could be a lot of truths you're taking on, especially from society and from media that mirror past experiences where it's like all relationships are like this, like all things happen this way. And it's like, that's not true. It's not true. Okay, pile 2. You know what is true? That this is where I'm leaving this reading. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background, at least for the first 30 seconds. That's the simplest and easiest way to show me support and appreciation and just exchange energy with me. If you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out my merch, my social media. You can check out, you can leave me a tip. My Cashapp is palehag. My PayPal is my email. You can leave like a hype thing. You can, that's new. I want to get hype, so hype me, please. I want to feel hype. You can leave like a little super comment. Anything else though? Sign up for my email list. My email list gets privileges that nobody else does. If I ever open up readings, only my email list will know. Nobody else will. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I am sending you guys so much love, and thank you for sending me love right back. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the little Larimar turtle, I'm like, should I put him with the shell or with the... Oh, this looks like a turtle in the ocean, so we gotta do that. Yeah. Welcome to your reading. Thank you so much for being here. If you are at this reading, we are going to start by looking at how you are currently seeing yourself. And if this resonates, then you found the right group. If this is not how you're currently seeing yourself, then this is not your group, and I would try a different one. So to start with that, we have the Knight of Swords. We have the Three of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Sun in reverse. And we have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. I really feel for you, group 3. I feel like you see yourself as too much. And my natural inclination is to be like, yeah, that's coming from people who are not enough. But I do think there is a part of you that recognizes, like, you may have the tendency to commit certain, like, social faux pas, not because you're trying to, but accidentally. Sometimes you can just blurt things out without realizing it, or you can be really, like, verbally impulsive. And so you say something, like, what you mean comes out differently than what you were trying to say. But also, you have a really quick mind, you're really intelligent, and you move at a quick pace. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you're watching this video right now on 2 times speed or something like that, which doesn't offend me at all. I do the same thing myself, so love that for you. But from what I can see here, I feel like you see yourself as someone who really struggles to work with others, but also at the same time, someone who's unrecognized by their peers anyway, and also someone who really struggles to be patient. And I think you see a lot of, like, stuff when it comes to growth and expansion right now as being not worth the investment. And the reason why that is because I think you feel really discouraged by whatever attempts you have made to broaden your horizons in your material world. So, like, for example, you know, if you've tried to build more of a community or put yourself out there more at work or be a part of groups, maybe you avoid them altogether and you recognize that, but that's probably because you feel a sense of rejection from them. It seems like you see yourself as someone who struggles to cooperate with others, and also someone who's left out. Like, this 3 of Pentacles made me think of, oh, it's real. When you're hanging out with 2 other friends and the sidewalk's only wide enough for 2 people, and so you end up trailing behind them, feeling kind of left out while they walk in front. You might kind of see yourself as that person that's always the odd one out, the one that's always lagging behind, the one that doesn't, the third wheel even. It seems like as well you feel like you see that the way that you are naturally, like, just the way you're wired isn't bad. I think you see that you're wired the way you are for a reason. And I don't mean wiring in terms of, like, things that we can consciously change, but rather just, like, core aspects of who you are, like, just things intrinsic to you. I feel like there are qualities and traits intrinsic to who you are, that I think you appreciate. Well, I think you probably bounce between appreciating them and resenting them because of how they isolate you, and also how they are not received well by others. At least some of these qualities. One of the qualities is just you're a very honest, well, blunt was the word that came out, but you're a very honest person, but it can come across as blunt. And I think you see that. But the thing is like, I think that if you had a choice, you see that you would choose to be different. You would choose to be more agreeable to others. You would choose to be more palatable to others. And I love this about your ego. Your ego, though, rejects that notion. Like, your ego gets almost annoyed by it and frustrated because your ego knows that there's value in the core of who you are. And I think you recognize that part of you as well, that part of you. And this is an excellent example of positive ego, where your ego is building you up instead of holding you back or protecting you by tearing you down. You want to see the value in your intrinsic nature, but you're really having trouble doing so, especially because it seems like the outside world doesn't seem to recognize or praise the qualities that you have. And it just seems like, I feel like you see yourself as someone who is trying their best, but seems to rub people the wrong way anyway. And I think the thing is that you might be doing that sometimes, but other times I think, it's just people don't like what you have to say because it's something they don't want to hear. Like, I think that you're the type of person at school or at work that is very quick to see issues or flaws or ask questions when something doesn't make sense. And because a lot of people have ego attachments to what they're saying and their ideas, you know, they feel threatened by what you're saying because they don't want to look stupid. They don't want to look, they're afraid to be wrong. And the reality is that you're just trying to understand and make something great, but it's like other people take offense to what isn't personal. And I think actually you do the same thing. I don't know if you see that, but it's just something that I'm seeing where I think actually there is a part of you that, and I don't know if you see this or not, but there's a part of you that is really sensitive to not being acknowledged or not being seen. And I think especially when you put yourself out there in front of people who you already anticipate as being more closed off to you or being less likely to understand and appreciate your nature, I feel like you kind of go into situations assuming they won't care, won't appreciate what you have to say anyway. I feel like you also see yourself as someone, though, capable of doing so much more than they are. I feel like you might see yourself as someone who really struggles to ground or really struggles to build long-term projects or do the same thing for a long period of time. But maybe you're also realizing that the things you're criticizing yourself for are not things that are inherently necessary in order for you to live your life and do your thing. But one thing that I see here as well is that, and that I think you see as well, is that the pace at which you read, the pace at which you think, the pace at which you speak, the pace at which you live, the pace at which you make connections and recognize patterns, the pace at which you learn, all of that is much faster than the vast majority of people that you are going to encounter in everyday life. And so I think you get frustrated with your own impatience, but there's also frustration in the sense of like, why can't people... I think you see that when you enter a space with others, you're always the one having to make sacrifices. And when you advocate for yourself, you get pushback or it creates conflict. It's almost like, I think you see yourself as being torn between a rock and a hard place where it's like, either I follow my own flow and accept the isolation that comes with that, or I try to integrate in groups and I'm sacrificing my pace to go along, to keep the peace. And I think there's a part of you that is frustrated, understandably, by the ways in which, if you're struggling with burnout right now, that might be something you're seeing. You might be seeing that like you're really feeling like down on your luck, or just feeling like kind of hopeless or just frustrated or like dejected. There was a point to what I was saying. What was it? You might be feeling that way. And I do think that part of the reason why that is because, shoot, guys, I'm sorry. I had that in my head. It is not in my head anymore. I wasn't fast enough. See? Even I'm not fast enough, and now you can be annoyed at me. Hopefully it'll come back though. I'll just keep going. But I think that you see yourself as someone who is craving a community of people that appreciate and understand your nature, and I think you also are really craving a place where you can be recognized for your talents, and a place where you can be I think you see yourself as a fish being judged on its ability to climb a tree. And you're recognizing that if you were just in a body of water instead of climbing a tree, you know, you'd be making much faster progress, or you know, you'd be able to show off your skills properly. And I think that's true. I think that you're seeing that a lot of the ways in which maybe you've judged yourself, and a lot of the ways in which maybe you've made adjustments and sacrifices for others in order to like keep the peace, they're not necessarily beneficial sacrifices for you to make. And probably an example of environments not worthy of what you have to share with the world. And I think maybe you're seeing too that maybe a lot of these independent qualities of yours would be served in a role that allows you to have more independence than needing to collaborate with others. But I see you like craving connection and wanting to be seen and valued, you know, for your own light. And that's so real. And one thing that I want to say is, you're right, dude. Like, you're fast as fuck. You're fast as fuck, boy. And like, that sucks that nobody else can match like your Lightning McQueen Kachow vibes. But the cool thing about that as well, though, is that you get stuff done faster, and you can also spend more time engaging in tomfoolery, because once it's time to do stuff, you do it quick. That being said, though, I think you just see yourself as like, either I sacrifice who I am, and oh, I remember what I was gonna say now. You have so much energy and so much like potential, like like you have so much energy and potential energy. And what I mean by potential energy, it's probably, maybe it's kind of in the physics way, I don't know, I can't really remember physics class. All I remember from physics class is that my teacher looked exactly like Eric Foreman from that 70s show, and he gave me the Christmas duck that you've seen featured on the channel, that actually will be, oh my god, I guess it is the time of year where I should have the Christmas duck. So next video, Christmas duck will be back. I saved Christmas duck from many vile physics experiments. Anyway, I think you're trying to figure out, you know, why you're like this, if it seems like you just keep being potted in the wrong soil and aren't able to grow. Speaking of potential energy, let's go back to that potential energy. You have a lot of energy and a lot of potential energy, and the potential energy is based on the environment and the supportive aspects that allow you to channel your energy into a positive place to begin with, into a constructive or productive place to begin with. That leads to a lot of potential energy being accessed and a lot of forward momentum, because it's almost like a domino effect. But when you're in an environment where you're having to just, I wouldn't say temper yourself, I would say like literally suppress your natural instincts and rigidly conform to the environment around you, I think you come out of those situations feeling exhausted and resentful, because all of that energy that could have been spent in a different environment, in a different way, in a productive manner, is spent suppressing yourself just in order to be more palatable. So yeah, I can see why that would be super annoying and you would hate that. And I think there's a part of you that wonders, like, will I ever like find my place? Will I ever find my people? Will I ever find like a role that works for me? Will I ever find a career that suits who I am? Like, will I ever find a reason to feel proud of who I am at my core? that like really like kind of breaks my heart, because there's so many wonderful things about you too. So let's speaking of, see the truth of who you really are. So beautiful. We have I am authentic. We have the universe. We have in between worlds. And we have naughties. So number one, okay, it's gotten really dark and cloudy. Can you still see? Yeah, okay. I just wanted to be sure. It's, oh, Midwest weather. Okay. So what you need to understand, the truth of who you are is that you are somebody that has different needs from the vast majority of people. And a blunt truth that you need to hear, that you may or may not have already accepted, is that most people will not be able to empathize with your needs because they don't have them. And the people that have never had to suppress their natural instincts or have existed in a way where what the norms of the mainstream are like so different from like what is your own norms and what your own needs are, that like I feel like a lot of the environments that you've been in, you're around people that like haven't experienced on a collective level and on a group level, community level, having needs go unmet or feeling isolated or ostracized. I think that it's like, one thing that you may not be seeing is that the people that maybe invalidate your needs or can't understand like where you're coming from, it's because they've had the privilege of not having to, they have the privilege and the curse of conformity, and the privilege and the curse of, quote, normalcy, where things in their life flow more easily, but at the same time, you know, it's not a very unique, interesting, challenging, cool perspective to have like yours. So one thing that you're not seeing is that, or I guess one truth about you is that, I think this is true in two ways, this in between worlds card. I think right now you are in a transition phase between an old way of living and a new way of living. And I think in your new way of living, it's going to be similar to your old way of living. It's just that what's different is you're no longer hiding what is unnecessary to hide. You're taking, in this new world, you take a lot less personally people's responses to your authenticity. You know, one example of the, like, that I just thought of that's kind of a tangent, but not really. One time I was talking to my grandparents and I referred to myself as an introvert, and both of them immediately went, oh no, you're not an introvert. No, don't say that about yourself. And it took me like it took me back, because I was like, introvert's not a bad thing. And I was like explaining that introvert, like what introversion actually is. And then I was like, but I was reflecting on it and I was like, oh my God, like they grew up in a time where introversion was seen as a negative thing. You know, people took it personally if you didn't say hi back. People took it personally if you didn't engage in small talk. People took it personally if you weren't conscientious about the people around you and didn't engage in the very specific social parameters that were set out within that community. Like you needed, and the irony is like the way that in those perspectives can be offended by, you know, by someone like not saying hi when the reality is they're probably just shy and it's nothing personal at all. Like I feel like that's kind of the thing that you're experiencing, where it's like you're having your own internal experience, and then people with their own conditioning and with their own like beliefs about how things should be and like what something looks like, they have very rigid definitions of it. And so they like take offense from things that are not personal at all and just really stem from either an outdated, way too rigid, or like just honestly like unevolved perspective that is also kind of selfish because it doesn't take you or what you're going through into consideration. So no wonder you find that draining. One thing you do need to see is that the universe does have a plan for you, and I think that things are going to be getting lighter and better. The fact that we have the sun here as well, like, you are meant to shine and you are meant to be your authentic core self. Like, I know it feels like a curse to not be able to truly and entirely shut off and suppress who you truly are, but I promise you it's a gift. And the reason why you're struggling to suppress your natural instincts more and more is because it's time for that to change anyway. It's going to get harder and harder for you to hide who you are as time keeps moving, because you're stepping into a new era where you embrace your authenticity and you are not taking personally people's ignorance when it comes to meeting your own needs and when it comes to marching to the beat of your own drum. Not only that, though, you have a unique perspective because of the isolation, rejection, prejudice that you've experienced from the communities around you, from peers, from the people in your environment. You've had a lot of very powerful experiences that will allow you to bring into this next phase of life a perspective and a framework that makes the way forward easier for others like you, which is a really special thing and something really cool. One truth about you is that your needs are not something you can sacrifice, you know? So if you need a faster pace in life, you might need a different lifestyle than, you know, someone who does the same thing every day, or someone who goes to an office for 40 hours a week every week. You know, you might need something more independent or flexible, or what you need is different from what the average person needs. And the truth is, a lot of what the average person needs may not even be what they truly need, but maybe they don't know it because meeting it in an average way is enough to not let them know that there's any deficit there. I don't know. All I do know is that there's nothing wrong with you, and how you truly are is wonderful. It's how you're meant to be. And the reality is that you've just been planted in a lot of shitty soils that just wouldn't let you grow. And I think what you're ready to see is that you don't have to adhere to those environments. And also, in some ways, not all, but in some ways, you're safer going your own way than you are depending on organizations or collectives. Not in all cases, but I meant that specifically more in terms of like career stuff and career stuff mainly. I guess if you can think of others that work for you, go for it. But we are now going to look at how you can see yourself more clearly moving forward. So you guys actually got two. We have Harvest Moon with Gratitude and Last Quarter with Release. So I think, well, okay, that last quarter is really significant to me, because that tells me that like you're in the last quarter of a cycle where you're enduring and putting up with a lot of challenge, tension, frustration, and obstacle surrounded, like related to self-expression, feeling accepted, feeling like your talents are yielding something, being rewarded for your talents, recognized for your talents, recognized for what you do, being in a stable place, feeling like you belong. All of that is coming, and it's part of this next cycle. And so part of what you can start to do is just start releasing whatever limited beliefs you have about yourself, and releasing like the impulse to suppress yourself. Like, I think what's going to shock you is how much more energy you have when you're just not filtering yourself so much. I think you're borderline hyper vigilant when it comes to like censoring yourself. And also gratitude. Like, I would really encourage you to just take time admiring all the qualities that you have. Because, like, let's be real, your ego does recognize them, and your ego will hype you up and make you feel good. Like, I mean, you've got a lot of things to be proud of. I think that you have an unyielding loyalty to the truth. I think that you're a very truthful person. I also think that you're someone who will fight for what's right and what's true and what's just until, like, your dying breath. And so I think the universe is really encouraging you to be grateful. Be grateful that you're not one of those people that fits so well into a current system that they can't even see that that system fails so many others, and assumes that the system, that the problem is on the individual and not community or systemic issues. Same thing with, I forgot what I was going to say again, so guess I don't need to. All right, then we are going to go ahead and finish your reading off by getting a guidance card from the Love Your Inner Goddess deck. Now, inner goddesses are not exclusive to women. Every single human being on this planet has an inner goddess, whether they acknowledge her or not. So even if you are a big, beefy, burly, masculine man, I ask you, you probably need it the most to honor your inner goddess. So let's go ahead and see here. For group number 3, Spirit, what guidance do you have for group number 3 when it comes to honoring their true self and honoring themselves moving forward? What do they need to know? Ooh, we have Gaia. Ooh, and it says shine on. Let's go. Oh my gosh. I have a feeling things that I didn't say about Earth stuff is going to come through in here, which, thank God, because I forgot that I had, like, Earth stuff. I hadn't, like, felt it out and defined it yet. So maybe it's because I didn't need to. Oh my gosh, group 3. This is so awesome. It's the right time, or soon will be, for things to come together for you. If there's something that you really believe in but have been waiting for a long time to bring to life or to see succeed, here's some good news that something is beginning to stir, and at the right time things are going to fall into place. There is a bigger question of divine timing about these matters, and it is not that you are or are not doing something right. Do not give up, but do give in to the wise timing of the Earth Mother, who knows how to grow all souls, all things, into perfect fullness of divine expression. Something new is being hatched. You may wonder if you are just imagining it, if the idea of startling and beautiful change is just a foolish fantasy. Gaia comes to tell you that this newness is real. New life is forming, and when the time is right, it is going to spring forth as something amazing. What is needed is some patience, care, and willingness to trust in what is happening within your own soul. Most of the time, people don't think much about their soul, let alone use their inner senses to feel for what their soul is experiencing. When we do take time to go within, to inquire after our own soul experience, a beautiful inner relationship develops, and we start to feel the life of the soul as a very real and genuine experience. We begin to experience more joy, faith, patience, and trust. We start to share a special, secret inner knowing with our soul about beautiful happenings that are going to take place. We feel a quiet inner confidence and a sense of knowing that what is going on in our lives, at a deeper level. This is comforting and helpful. Now is the right time to take time for your soul, to care for yourself like you would a fragile egg with precious new life growing inside. Enjoy your growing soul connection as you trust in what is about to hatch. Beautiful. So there's a little healing ritual if you would like to do that. That's crazy. All of these readings have been 30 minutes, but I swear this reading felt like it was like 50 minutes. Maybe that's because everything feels like it takes longer with you. Because, well, you're kind of impatient, but I don't think you'll be offended by that notion. You see that about yourself. So maybe I was feeling, but I didn't feel impatient during your reading. I thought, if anything, I'm like, oh man, am I talking too much? And like, is this taking way too long? Interesting. But Group 3, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background while you do something else. At least for the first 30 seconds, that's the most powerful way to support me and show appreciation for my channel. But if you'd like to do that in other ways, liking the video is super helpful. Commenting down below, letting me know how it resonates is. Subscribing if you haven't already, and clicking that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading is super helpful too. You can check out my merch, my social media. You can check out candles. Be sure to use code ISO10. Sign up for my email list. If you ever want to have the opportunity to get a personal reading from me, if I ever open them up, my email list is going to be the only people who know about it and the only people that get offered it, because they're the ones that stick with me and they're the ones that support me. So if you're one of my biggest supporters, you're not unless you sign up for my email list. Just saying. Thank you to everyone who is. Love you, email squad. You can subscribe, like. Thank you to everyone who leaves me a like. That can help other souls like you find this video. And also let me know what you want to see more of. Can comment down below, let me know how it resonates. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out other videos, ones with extendeds. You can leave me a tip. My Cashapp is palehag. My PayPal is my email. You can send me good vibes. I'm sending you good vibes right back. That is all I have for you guys. So I love you guys so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video. And I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, Pile 4. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose this amethyst butterfly, this is going to be your reading on, are you seeing yourself clearly? What was that? Oh well, it stopped, not my problem. Okay. Are you seeing clearly? And that's a rhetorical question because I've forgotten to answer it in every single group, and I answered the question anyway. I just didn't say yes or no, and really it's not up to me, it's up to you. Question is rhetorical. Let's get into it. So starting with how you're currently seeing yourself. If this does not resonate, if you're not seeing yourself this way, pick a different group. This isn't yours. But if it does resonate, then hi, you found the right group. So we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. We have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. I'm afraid my recycling bin or something is knocked over. I'll be right back. All right, I can't find the source of the external noisemaker, so if you hear scraping outside, I don't know what it is, and no, I can't fix it. Anyway, we also have Seven of Wands in reverse and the Six of Cups upright. Oh, okay, I think you see yourself, well, I think you see yourself in a couple ways. Number one, broke and tired. Now, you might not be broke, but yeah, you might be calling yourself that. You might be in a place where money is kind of tight, you've been down on your luck, or things just haven't been working out. And I can also see that you are very exhausted and running on empty, I think is a great way to put it. That being said, though, that you're cool with, you can handle. What you can't handle is that it seems there are people in your inner circle that are close to you, that are not directly dependent on you in like a, let's say like a parent-child. Well, let me back up. What I can see here is that you're someone, you see yourself as a generous person, and also you really care about being of service to the people you love and care about. What I can see though here is that you've reached a point where even you can see that something has to change because you've got nothing left to give. And I think you've recognized that you feel really guilty about that. And that's not a healthy type of guilt to have. You know, Healthy guilt is when you feel guilt because you stole money out of your grandma's wallet. Unhealthy guilt is giving your last dollar that you was going to go to a necessity to someone else because they're asking for it, that you love and care about. To someone else being like, I just really need to borrow $20, I promise I'll pay you back. That sort of thing. When it's not a necessity, or they don't elaborate whether it's for a necessity or not, giving away things that you need because people you care about have needs as well. And these people that you care about that have needs seem to be a little bit less on top of things and responsible than you are. Even though you might be struggling, one thing that I think you're realizing is part of the reason why you're struggling is because you've given away so much, and I think also maybe enabled people in the circle around you to the point where you kind of haven't been able to establish a solid foundation, because everything that could go to it has gone to, number one, strokes of bad luck. I think one thing you're recognizing is that a lot of like just crappy things have happened to you recently, like a car breaking down, or like losing a bid, or you know, just things that are unlucky, unfortunate, and extra unfortunate because they're happening at a time where it just seems like a lot of unfortunate things are happening at once in your world, in a way where, and I don't know if you're seeing this, but this is how I'm seeing it as I'm channeling it. A lot of like unfortunate things are happening in your world where you're having to cut back, be more conservative, and also like where things are getting a little bit more, I don't want to say like desperate, but kind of like a diluted sense of desperate. But the only reason that level of desperate is there is because where the point that you've been brought to in terms of where you're at right now, like just with this Wheel of Fortune in reverse, that place, being in that place, you can't continue the habit and pattern of generously giving yourself, your time, your resources, your money to people who need it. I can see here that you've started to recognize that you've a lot of your sense of self and a lot of your self-esteem has been based on giving to others, being of service to others, protecting, supporting, providing for the people you care about. And I think there's a part of you that feels like if you don't do that, then you're a failure of a family member, of a friend, of a roommate, of a partner, of a lover, whatever it may be. But I think it's really interesting because you're almost now, your perspective has shifted a little bit where you may not see it as this yet, but I think at some point you will see it this way. Whatever stroke of misfortune or stroke of unlucky events you've been dealing with, I think you're actually going to be really grateful that it happened, because number one, it's temporary. It's not going to be forever. And number two, it really, one of the biggest reasons it came about was to show you how this pattern was stopping you from moving forward in life and being able to expand, evolve, grow into new opportunities. You know, just make room for more and have access to more. It's like you were able to sustain the level you were at and be able to give and support the help and help the people you care about that I think are also in unfortunate situations. However, I do think you're also starting to recognize, though, that you may have been enabling some of those unfortunate situations. Like, I think your eyes are starting to be open to that, but the part of you is like, well, yeah, but I do that because, like, I care about them, because I love them. Like, I don't want them to struggle and suffer the way I have had to and the way that I am. And the reality is that with this Wheel of Fortune in reverse, I still think, like, I still think you would have experienced, like, those, like, strokes of bad luck. But the difference is that if you hadn't been operating in this pattern, things wouldn't be so tight. That's what she said. Things wouldn't be so tight and tense. Stop. I hate when the words come through that are like, blah. Well, I guess really I hate that I have the mind of a 12-year-old boy. Do I hate it? No, I love it. Anyway. This cycle is happening this way because an unhealthy pattern that you've been in for a hot minute is unsustainable. Unsustainable if you want to grow, if you want to have more stability, if you want to have, like, a solid financial safety net, if you want to have, like, just stability in general. The amount, how, like, you've been giving way too much of yourself and what you've earned to others. And I think you are seeing that, but you feel really guilty in seeing that. Because with the Six of Cups being here, I think you're recognizing that this is a pattern that you've operated in since you were really young. I think that you've been, you know, maybe you're, like, you know, this is like kind of like oldest daughter, or like oldest child energy, or you know, just the responsible one. Like, I feel like you've been burdened with a lot of responsibility at a very early age, and I think that as a result, no one taught you or told you or let you know that this was even a possibility, that you deserve to have something just for you, that you deserve to do your own thing, to have your own identity outside of your inner circle, to have your own path, your own focuses. And I actually think as well, one thing you may be seeing too is that what's loving isn't always what feels the best. Because I think one thing that you're realizing is like with the Six of Cups here, there could be some sort of loving connection in your life. It could be any kind, platonic, romantic, even familial, even in-laws I'm hearing, like, that have brought to your attention maybe the unfairness in your circumstances, or the distortion in your perspective when it comes to what you think you're obligated to and what the people around you feel entitled to from you. I think you might be realizing that not everybody has those expectations of you, and that those expectations aren't inherent in close connection. And while I think that you are still by nature happy to be a generous person and want to be a generous person, you recognize there's a line, and there's nothing wrong with generosity. It's wonderful to be a generous person. It's wonderful to help others. It's not a good thing when it becomes martyrdom, and I think you're starting to realize that's kind of what you've been. You will sacrifice everything to save everyone else, and I think that martyr or hero, honestly, one of those two. I think that you're kind of seeing how that's starting to really not feel good, and like the feeling of saving the day is not strong enough anymore to override the feeling of, I need to meet my needs better, and also someone who cares about me isn't going to place these demands on me. And if they truly believe that I'm obligated to, like, honor these demands, like, maybe that's not a type of quote unquote love and that I should be enabling, or connection that I should be enabling. So I think you're seeing yourself right now as like being brought to like a breaking point where it's like, I literally can't do this anymore because I don't have the resources to, I don't have the, like, I cannot give any more of myself away. Like at this point, you'll be taking chunks out of yourself. Like there's nothing left to give. And I think what you're realizing is that your value is not in what you offer, your value is in your presence. Because I think that I think part of what has awakened this to you, beyond just the inability to continue the pattern on a material level, I think that you have had the experience of connection without expectation, or connection that is just pure and caring and kind and gentle and like nurturing. And I think that has been very eye-opening in the sense of, I don't have to earn love. I don't have to earn my place. I also don't have to play a certain role. But I think there's a part of you that's really struggling and feeling like it's selfish to think this way, to feel that way. I think right now, the only reason you're able to engage in breaking the pattern, which I think you're either thinking about doing or starting to do, is because you literally can't. I do think one thing that you're seeing is that emotion plays a very powerful role in something you thought was once principle. You have emotional attachment to saving the day, showing up for others, being there, being needed by people. And I think one thing that this situation is showing you is that people need you in other ways beyond sacrifice. Ooh, I just got deja vu. People need you in... Ooh, I just got like really creepy deja vu. I feel like I dreamt this last night, and I don't know how I would have done that. I think what you're starting to realize is that, or you're seeing that at this point something has to change, something has to give. And also I think part of you is wondering what about this experience is selfishness, and what about this experience is reclamation. What about this experience is, like, I think there's a part of you that feels like in choosing to take your own energy back and like just conserve a little bit of your time, energy, and resources for yourself. I think a part of you either finds that selfish or feels like feels uncomfortable with it, like you should be giving it away. It makes me think of like when I was the first starting to do like energy work and healing and stuff like that. You know, when I would get out of a session with myself, I would just feel so good, and like I would feel like my emotional and spiritual cup was filled, and all I wanted to do was give it away. And I really had to call myself out and be like, you can't sit with what you've cultivated within yourself. You feel like you have to give it away. You feel obligated. And it made me realize that I have a hard time sitting, like keeping my own nourishment. Felt like giving it, like that the impulse to give it away was natural. So let's go ahead and see. And I think part of you as well is like, is the help I'm giving, are these people like are they enabling me? Are they not enabling? Are they taking advantage of me, or do they recognize they're taking advantage of me, or do they truly need my help? Like, I think a part of you is starting to like wonder, like, because I think also you see yourself, like, you're a very compassionate person, and I say, well, you're a very compassionate person to the people that are close to you. I think to everyone else, you kind of radars off, but I think you empathize extremely and heavily with people that are in your circle. And so I think part of you almost just assumed that when they're asking for help or asking for something from you, it's because they truly need it. And like, you understand what it's like to go without, you understand what it's like to not have help. And so of course you're happy to do it. But I think part of you is starting to wake up to like, yeah, do they really need my help though? Or okay, you've given me this excuse for 5 months now and nothing's really changed. So what? Like, I think you're starting to see that. So let's see how you truly are, what the truth is here. And I am perceptive. So, okay. Pretty on the nose. We have the Sage. We have Restlessness. And we have Hagalaz. Okay. So I think in a lot of ways you are seeing clearly. You just don't know how to process the guilt and discomfort involved in putting yourself first for once. I think you recognize and oh my gosh, look at this repetition of like these crossed wands. It's like, I think you're recognizing that like things have to change and you do need to put yourself first, and also like you don't have to operate in connection from a place of servitude. And I think you're recognizing how even though that role might be comfortable, it's not truly fulfilling, and it's something that keeps you from other areas of your purpose and path in life. You know, you can't start flying if you can't afford the wings to your plane, you know? I feel like with this Hagalaz card, I think one truth that you need to see is that there are gonna be times when people are suffering or experiencing challenge. People that you care about that are suffering or experiencing challenges that you cannot save them from, or that you cannot fix, or that you cannot protect them from. And that is not reflective of your worth. It's not reflective of how good of a person or a friend or a family member or a partner you are to them. Actually, it's a reflection of love to be supportive, but without violating your own boundaries. I feel like you really just struggle to see anyone that you love and care about deal with hardship. But you deal with hardship all the time, and it's like, and you're like, yeah, I know, that's why I don't want to see them go through it. And it's like, yeah, but part of the reason why you go through so much of it is because you willingly take on more to be a hero. You don't know how to feel good, and you're starting to experience what feeling good feels like. And it's changing your world, and it's opening your eyes, and it's changing your reality. And I think you're really uncomfortable with the truth of what it's showing you, in that sometimes the healthiest thing to do is let others work out their problems for themselves and stop rescuing them from them. Because you've got your own problems to deal with. And you know that. Like, you see this. It's just you don't know how to deal with the emotional discomfort that comes from saying no, and that comes from being fair to yourself. That is where you have room to grow, and that is how you are going to turn this wheel upright. You're going to continue to stay stuck where you are so long as you give. Like, how are you going to build a house when you give the materials away at every turn? You know what I mean? One thing that you can do when you see the people you care about struggling is sit with them through it. Just being present. Not trying to fix it, not trying to give them advice, not trying to tell them to do anything. Just saying, I see you and I hear you, and I care, and I'll sit with you in this. I won't save you from it, but I won't neglect you either. I think though that there might be some fear of volatility. And I think that is where you might need to have firmer boundaries. But with this Sage card here, you're starting to get wise to the fact that, yeah, you have been taken advantage of by people that care about you. And that doesn't mean that they don't care about you. You've been taken advantage of by people you care about. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't care about you. When it comes to the closest of the close, they do. I think when it comes to, I think that the ones that where you're taken advantage of and they don't care are like more like acquaintances, casual friends, maybe some at one point close friends, but I would imagine those are out of your life at this point. But like, you know, there are people that do genuinely love and care about you that also do take advantage of you. And that's the hardest thing, is because it's a cycle of codependence that you're both stuck in together. And so, and one of the hardest parts is that when you're the one meeting the need, accepting, like letting someone else figure it out for themselves when you could just fix it is excruciating. But that's what you need to do if you ever want to move forward. And I think you are ready for that, because you can't stay here, because you're replaying patterns and cycles that you're ready to outgrow. And you're going to do that. You already are. But what you need to see is that the only thing that makes you feel like you're wrong is this feeling of shame. And it's not a healthy sense of shame. If you were shamed for not bending over backwards for others, for not being more giving, this is the time and opportunity to heal that. And to recognize that that feeling of shame is not coming from a place of I'm doing something. That shame is not rooted in truth. That shame is rooted in wounding and in toxicity. And so the reality is that you're seeing the truth of a really toxic cycle, and you're facing the uncomfortable emotions that you avoided when you engaged in the pattern. It's, you know, we engage in these patterns when we stop engaging, and then we have to face what we avoided when we were in them. And so what you're finally facing is the discomfort of not having that familiarity, that security, that sense of worth that derives from that behavior. You don't have that anymore. But that's because you're meant to derive your sense of security, your sense of self-worth from truer, more loving, from true and loving places, not places that stem from ego and wounding. So with this card, we're going to see how you can see yourself more clearly. And for this, we have, I believe it's a waning crescent, and it says transform. So I do think following this transformation is like the single most important thing you can do. But I do, for this group, want to look in the guidebook and see what it says. The hard thing is that the waning crescent, there we go. I change with the moon phases. I ebb and flow. Transformation takes place for my soul to grow. During the last phases of the moon cycle, recalibration takes place. The inward stillness allows all the shifts and energy that moved through you in this moon cycle or phase of life you are in to mold you into a new form. Do not pass over this vital step on your path. You are in your pupa stage. This is the stage butterflies and moths change their form. They do not rush changes, and they cannot modify this step to meet their ego's needs. Allow acceptance to give you patience and feel excitement for what's ahead of you. Create your own pupa or cocoon to support you during this time. Rest and journal in this space. Place certain crystals in there or burn special incense and candles. Not honoring this time will most likely keep you in the same cycle your soul has grown out of, and karmic ties will be harder to complete. Did I say that, or did I say that? Because I think I said that. Transformation takes place in the darkness, in the womb, the cocoon, or buried in the earth. Let this time of change bring you closer to your higher potential, which is exactly what it is meant to do. Create a sanctuary to support your changes. Stay in the present moment and enjoy the journey. Cultivate more patience. Reflect on your journey thus far. You are exactly where you need it to be right now. And that's the thing, is that things are going to get better. Things are going to get easier. And things are going to get lighter. And actually, one thing that you're going to see is that you're going to see that number in your bank account rise and not fall the way it typically does when you're not giving what's in there away. I'm telling you, it's crazy. I know. I hope that didn't come out as patronizing. I was just trying to be playful. I'm not trying to be patronizing whatsoever. I was just trying to be playful. But the thing is like, part of the reason why, I don't even know what I'm saying. Okay. Guidebook. But I mean, the biggest thing is like, you just need to follow this transformation, because you're either like it can only go up from here. That's one perk. Another perk is that life is about to get a whole lot sweeter, because you're not pushing away the sweetness to take shots of vinegar for other people. Not your job. Never was. And it's time to resign. Because the thing is that the people in your inner circle that who do truly love and care about you, they're not going to punish you. They might be upset with you. They might feel entitled. They might try to manipulate you or guilt trip you. That's why boundaries are important. But ultimately, they will see the error in their ways. They will realize that actually you stepping back was a gift. I think that it'll be the opportunity for them to grow. And if they can't see that, then at the very least, be grateful that you wised up and set boundaries so that you didn't continue to set yourself on fire to keep someone warm who would never do the same for you, or who feels entitled to you doing that for them when they don't even really care that you're doing that to begin with. So group number 4, Spirit, what guidance would you like to leave my group 4s with? What do they need to know at this time for their highest good? Ooh, we have Soul Sisters, which this is a very feminine deck. It's the Love Your Inner Goddess deck. Everybody has an inner goddess. I don't care if you're the biggest, beefiest, most masculine man on the face of the planet. You've got an inner goddess. Because I believe that we all have, we're all a little balance of divine androgyny. And yeah, so this isn't a reading specifically for women. I just wanted to state that. Ooh, okay. Ooh. I'm like, I did that. Oh my God. I'm just the accuracy of what I channeled. I love getting confirmation. You are being emotionally and psychologically influenced by the people around you more than you may realize. Sometimes this is good. They uplift and inspire you and help you feel loved and loving. However, sometimes you can sense that being truly yourself in a situation could result in unwanted conflict, and you undermine yourself to keep the peace. You'll find that the moment you stop doing this, some difficulties you've been having in moving forward will fall away, almost as if by magic. The relationships worth holding on to can handle a little more truth, even if feathers get ruffled before being smoothed over with love once more. So yeah, confirmation that the people you care about will get over it. And yeah. Some relationships nourish your soul, whilst others damage it. A nourishing relationship has an effect on your soul, just like nourishing food does on your body. It makes you feel good, increases your energy to live your life, and enhances your well-being. Healthy relationships for your soul are those that uplift, inspire, and help you become more of yourself with fearlessness. They do not drag your spirit down into anxiety and confusion. Some people may love you, but just not know how to be in a relationship with you that is healthy for your soul. With such people, you will either need to show them how to be in your life in a soul-loving way, or take extra special care of yourself when you are around them. Sometimes this will not be enough to protect you from the negative influence of the relationship, and you will need to walk away. This can be sad, yet it also creates space for your soulmates to enter your life. These are the people with whom you share a deep and real connection. You love each other in a way that frees you to be yourselves. We attract new soulmates into our world by being good to ourselves. Be your own best friend first. Require respect in your relationships. Then you will find it easy to recognize the people who genuinely love you and invite them into your heart. The Six of Cups is literally a soulmate card. So maybe there's a soulmate in your life and in your world that's woken you up to this pattern, or woken you up to what balanced connection looks like. But if not, if you're manifesting a soulmate, take this as a positive sign that when you reclaim your energy, time, and space, you help bring that in. And then there's this little ritual thing that you can do if you would like to. I really love this because I think like you guys are really ready to experience love from a place of just pure receptivity and like not needing to feel like you have to volley that love back immediately. Like you deserve to just receive. So group number 4, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background. That is one of the simplest, easiest, most impactful ways to support me, show appreciation for my channel, and keep this channel sponsorship free. If you would like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, comment down below, let me know how it resonates, subscribe if you haven't already, click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. Shout out to my notification squad. You need to sign, okay, if you need to sign up for my email list, like you just do. I send freebies there. It is the place where all information from me is going to. Also, you get email list privilege, which is if I ever choose to or have the time to open personal readings, only my email list will know. If you're not on my email list, I could open them and you'd never know. So if you care about that, you need to be subscribed. Other things, candles, use code ASO10. Other videos, ones with extended, you can leave me a tip. My Cashapp is palehag. My PayPal is my email. Thank you to everyone who does that. You can leave like a little super comment or a hype thing. I don't know what those are exactly, but like I want them. So if you have them, I'd like some. I would be open to receiving, but also I do not demand it nor feel entitled to it. Just very grateful if you choose to. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I'm sending you guys so much love, and hope you're sending me some right back. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye!